If you enjoy movies, comic books, and pop culture, be sure to like and subscribe.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by REC Comics and Collectibles. I am the sidekick, Erik Icarus, and then we got the main man, the big tuna, the editor extraordinaire.
Yeah, this is
sitting in the co-pilot seat.
this is kind of like a Titans sort of thing because we're both like the sidekicks.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So if you're wondering where Roman is, he has been kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to us to save Gotham City.
Yes.
So we're putting out fresh comic book and superhero related content
Yeah.
to help get him back.
Yes, exactly. You can follow us or the store on Instagram at REC Comics and Collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow the shop at. Do you remember what that one is?
Follow the shop.
Yeah.
Oh my, we are already failing Roman.
Yeah.
If
Sorry,
you,
homie.
Yeah, if you are watching this, please don't send us an ear. We promise we're going to bring this back.
Yes, we're gonna loop it around. Well, either way, we'll probably put it in the description.
Yeah. I'll throw something up down there. Yeah.
And then you can visit the shop at.
7679 North Union Boulevard in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I know that because I have to put it on every episode, so that works out for sure.
It's gonna be crazy because I guess the lunatics are running the asylum this evening.
Yes. And a completely unrelated note, it's also the State of the Union tonight.
Oh, that's right.
So maybe we'll do an after dark bingo card.
Oh, I like it.
Maybe every time President Biden pauses, it's like there's a shot, or something.
Did you ever read that comic book where Spider-Man met Barack Obama?
I never read the full
I've seen the comic book, obviously, with Barack on the cover. I have not read it either. I'd like to know what the
you know what? Like I
was.
understand the recency when it comes to bringing superheroes into the political platform,
Yeah.
and into the political sphere. But honestly, so many superhero storylines have to do with time travel. Give me Superman meeting William Henry Harrison.
Dude.
Give me Batman going toe to toe with Chester A. Arthur. Or we've seen doppelgangers. Give me Superman and give me a Crisis Superman, and I want to see both Grover Cleveland's. He was like 22nd and 24th president.
Yes.
So that 24th, he's
Let's see. So. Who is a C-list superhero? Let me look around here. How about Aquaman meeting Rutherford B. Hayes?
Oh yes, that would be awesome. Yes, or Isaac Hayes. I'll take either one. They're distant cousins.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell us what are we doing for the show today?
I thought we thought it'd be a good idea. Just kind of Jordan hasn't been on the show. He's been a full-time member of the show for like a month now, right? Yeah. So I think we're gonna just kind of go into like comic books that we kind of grew up reading, comic book related material that we grew up watching. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
You wanna go with that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. When did you get into comic books?
Never. I'm actually illiterate. So
Fair enough.
I like the pictures. Yeah.
I always think that a good comic book can tell a story without words.
Yeah. No, and I will say, so I'm a more recent convert when it comes to the comic book universe. Mm. As a kid, my family, we didn't have the means to get a lot of comic books or anything. I do remember as a kid having a few different X-Men titles here and there. One for the birthday.
Right.
My brother and I, when we were kids, occasionally at the grocery store, my parents would pick up, I would get the Disney Adventures book, the little booklet.
Oh, yeah.
And he would get the Archie books,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was really kind of the extent of those reoccurring, I guess, publications.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I was very much into the cartoons.
Okay.
So we're talking X-Men the Animated Series, Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man were the big three that I watched.
That's right.
And that's really where I learned about the characters. Yes. Obviously, there's different origins, there's different storylines. Spider-Man does a completely different Secret Wars, sort of thing.
Yes.
But I had exposure to the ideas and some of the big themes.
Yeah.
And so that was really my big push towards superheroes.
Right.
And it wasn't until Roman and I worked at the movie theater that he started bringing in either books from his own collections or trades he had.
Yes.
And I started reading Ultimates, got really big into one of my favorites, which is Kingdom Come.
Yes.
Hush definitely got into some of those more recent stuff. Not
I would say they're more recent classics.
Yeah, recent classics.
Because I think now they are definitely in that classics stratosphere. Especially, I would say, Hush.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, that thing is blown up. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Great mystery too. I don't know if you know this, but you probably do. My dad is kind of, I guess, the genesis for this, because he's the one that got Roman into comic books hardcore. I definitely veered left. I mean, I was into it, but I definitely lost interest into it. And Roman gave me Identity Crisis, the trade,
yes.
and that's what lured me back into comic books. I was shocked how good that story was. It had no business being that well told. Getting out of comic books in the 90s and then seeing how far they came when Identity Crisis came out, which I think was 2002, 2003.
Sure.
Early aughts, we'll say. And just the great mystery. Mm-hmm. Same with Hush.
Yeah.
The reveals are crazy on both of those. Growing up, like I said, it's in my DNA, I guess, but I always and still do read Daredevil. That's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
And I remember growing up and being almost traumatized by Daredevil because you remember the Incredible Hulk, the Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk.
Absolutely.
Well, they did do TV movies. Mm-hmm. And they did one with Thor. Mm-hmm. And of course they did one with Daredevil, who did look like the Frank Miller Man Without Fear version. All in black.
The black, okay.
Yeah, but it was a very awful story from what I can remember. I might need to go revisit
Didn't
that.
they also do an Iron Man? Did they also do
I don't remember them doing an Iron Man.
Oh, okay. I might be thinking of the Doctor Strange because there was not with the Hulk, but there was TV. There was
a TV. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
Every few years when another Avengers movie is about to release, they'll be like, here's the Lou Ferrigno Hulk and the Thor, and they'll kind of what would the 70s team up look like?
I know. Oh, that's so true, man. It's crazy to talk about the Ultimates because I love the Ultimates. That was such an amazing story retelling, which I think the MCU would pulled a lot from. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I remember reading, it may have been the first trade of the Ultimates, and you see the Nick Fury, very much as Samuel L. Jackson, makes reference to it.
Yeah.
And so, I feel like maybe not in terms of some of the main storyline, but there feels like there's an undercurrent, a tone, where the Ultimates universe, it takes the superhero stories, gives it a little bit more of a grounded feel, in a sense.
Yeah.
And I think the movies have really tried to approach that.
I would say initially.
Especially the first phase.
Yes.
Yeah, and they've definitely moved away from it.
Because magic is a total thing now. I would say even science to a degree in the MCU is just basically magic with the nanotech.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's definitely going to be something that I think the MCU is going to need to figure out because one of my big critiques of Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the first one, and not so much the second one, but both of them really show that vibranium is kind of this deus ex machina. It kind of does whatever you need it to do in the moment.
There you go.
And we've made a reference in the past, a previous episode, we talked about the introduction of adamantium and the theories that could come about with the Captain America New World Order film.
Right.
And maybe that will help provide a little bit of a reset where we're going to see this overpowered tech maybe reach some of those limitations.
I really can't wait to see that because, like you said, it does seem like a cop out sometimes. The vibranium is like, oh, they got vibranium, they're gonna win. Mm-hmm. Even when the bad guys get it, the superheroes will have a synthesized version of it or something.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's like I don't know, but I am excited to see where the adamantium will come in. We did have some theories on that in a few episodes back, but we do have Ant-Man coming out.
Yeah,
next week?
Ant-Man's next week, right around the corner. They just had their film premiere this week.
Yeah.
So, Feige was being interviewed. I watched a very interesting conversation. He almost pulled a Ruffalo or a Holland, as they call it, in the Netherlands, where he almost spoiled something. He was speaking to the person conducting the interview, talking about Jonathan Majors' portrayal as Kang. He goes, man, he just really leaned into it. We saw him introduced as He Who Remains in Loki. He then says, now we're seeing this different version of him. We wanted an actor that could show one person, but completely different approaches. He says, this guy's blowing up. You're gonna see him in Creed. He goes, we actually just, and then he stopped himself. And he said, he goes, but we've got some things like, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna see Jonathan Majors as Kang, probably something in Guardians, which is up next. Definitely down the road.
Do you think that obviously do you think they'll even follow through on Guardians? Do you think we're going to get a volume 4? Do you think this is where the Guardians stop? Because obviously James Gunn's leaving, but it's not to say that someone could pick up the mantle. For Guardians.
I think if we were to see a continuation of the Guardians, I think we'd see it more an adapted variation of the team where maybe a character like Rocket, if he survives, we'll talk about that in a second. And maybe Groot with some of these other heroes, or maybe some of these characters that we're seeing introduced, maybe in Ant-Man, or maybe in some of these, and they kind of form their own team. I feel like the Peter Quill, the Gamora, the Nebula, I feel like that core team Drax.
Yes.
I know Dave Bautista recently said in press for Knock at the Cabin.
Yes.
He made a comment that this third Guardians of the Galaxy is really a good send off for Drax. So it sounds like he's done with the character.
I agree.
It's very disappointing that we're not going to get him face to face with Thanos. That was such a build up in the first one.
God, it was.
I don't think they even shared a scene.
Other
than the mass team up at the end,
right? Which I don't even think they were near each other.
Yeah. Which honestly, if we could go back and do anything, if they end up doing a George Lucas on the Endgame, I want when Tony snaps in Endgame, like as he's doing that, because it's when Tony snaps, it destroys all of Thanos' army and Thanos, and they all just kind of, like Kansas, dust in the wind. So you're like, carry on, my wayward son. But it's not instantaneous, right? Because you see Thanos like sit down, which is in reference to him talking about when you're defeated.
Yeah, that's true.
Your knees buckle.
Yes, that's right.
But I want it like as he's sitting down, I want that blade. I want Drax to
just
there,
yeah,
and then like he dusts. And you see Drax holding the knife or something,
that would be cool.
Yeah,
because you're right, they did build that up.
Yeah,
and
he killed my family. And then nothing.
They robbed Drax of his revenge. Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Which does make me wonder. So there was a little bit of interesting news that came out recently. There was a brief synopsis provided for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, referring to the team having to rescue Rocket, that his past has kind of caught up with him, and that they're fighting to not just save his life, but the lives of the team. So
right. Okay.
The trailer very much teases we see like a shot of a young Rocket and then him and so it might be that the family that Drax avenges or saves, or that that moment there might be Rocket or something.
I think, I don't see Drax getting out of this alive. I don't see Gamora getting out of this, or maybe she does, but I don't think she's going to stick around.
Yeah.
I don't see Nebula surviving this. I can possibly see Rocket and Groot still sticking around just because they're such fan favorites.
Yeah, and you need someone to run nowhere.
Right.
You've got Kraglin.
Yes.
Yeah. But
he's Jimmy Gunn's brother, right?
Yeah, that's Sean Gunn.
I don't think he would stick around, just because I think he might be even tied to some DC properties.
Yeah,
hearsay, obviously.
He did do the motion capture, not just for Rocket,
right?
But he also did the motion capture for Weasel, which on our recent episode, Creature Commandos, is going to feature Weasel. So wouldn't be surprised again. A little bit. That's the nice thing about nepotism, is it'll keep you employed. So. But yeah, so I think it's very easy for us as fans who have grown up with this stuff. You've got the comic books, you've got the movies, you got the shows and all these things.
Right.
It's very easy for us to sit back and say, they made a very bad call with this. They made a good call with this.
Yeah.
And really reflecting, we've had about a week or so to digest the big news about the DCU's relaunch with its TV and its movie slate that's coming up. James Gunn came out and kind of tried to sort of say, when the Marvel movies first began, Iron Man, and then we saw pretty quickly it was Hulk, Thor, it was Captain America.
Yeah.
You know, we know where this is kind of going in a general sense. There really wasn't an overarching story.
No.
And he's made very, very recent statements suggesting that, you know, that's the reason they announced these projects is because they want it understood. You know, the DCU's relaunch is creating a coherent story universe.
Okay.
Maybe not necessarily an Infinity Stone overarching,
sure,
you know, threat or something. But I really kind of did think over the last week and really appreciate that. We've often said one of the hardest things that the DC movie universe has not done well is its storytelling.
Yes.
And often, in my opinion, the ones that often told the best stories are the ones that were very close to Zack Snyder.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, I feel like maybe having somebody who is guiding these productions,
right,
either involved directly. I know there's still the rumor out there that Gunn's going to direct Superman Legacy, the first film of the DCU. Obviously, he's had his hand in writing Creature Commandos.
Oh yeah,
he'll probably be executive producing all of these projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Him and Peter Safran.
Yeah.
Okay.
But giving them the autonomy and the ability to say, you know, we want Swamp Thing to be a Swamp Thing story,
right?
But how does Swamp Thing fit into this bigger universe?
Yeah, right.
And not everything has to.
Sure.
As long as we don't get the overlap that I often feel, it's sometimes kind of a point of frustration for me.
Right.
When I look at the Marvel products, especially this Phase 4 that recently wrapped up, right? There's a lot of situations where I ask myself, where's everybody else?
Okay.
Because you've got Doctor Strange stuff happening, you've got Spider-Man No Way Home happening, which had Doctor Strange, yes, but you got Shang-Chi, you got the TV products, you got Captain America, we had Loki, we had She-Hulk, we had Miss Marvel, and there are some brief overlaps.
Oh, yeah, sure,
but I
feel like they were shoehorned in. They didn't seem like another thing. I will say Phase 2 did well was everything seemed seamless.
Yeah.
Like everything tied together very well. Phase 4, I feel it was clunky. Yeah. I feel like, we got to put so and so in here. The movie that I really don't like talking about, Eternals. They did have we got Black Knight and Blade, obviously. But where are they going to go with those? I feel like no one talks about that anymore.
Yeah.
Do you think we get an Eternals 2?
I think you see, that's a tricky question. Okay. Because I feel like there is a way to redeem some of the story and some of the characters, but maybe not in Eternals 2. Maybe we see the redemption for the characters, some of the storylines,
right? Even
the Celestial arc.
Yes,
I maybe seeing those in other properties. So maybe we get. Like I would love to see, and I feel like it would be a natural fit. I would love to see Kit Harington as the Black Knight in the Blade movie. Okay. Considering we had Marshall Ali's voice there at the end.
Yes.
And actually, and so I don't, I don't want to see these things just completely just separated.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe ending Guardians of the Galaxy can give us Chris Pratt in Fantastic Four.
Sure.
Or give us, and give us a little bit of play. I mean, how awesome would it be? How fun would it be to see a Fantastic Four movie and you've got, Groot and Rocket around, not as, co-stars necessarily.
right.
But like showing us like a side that this universe is truly connected.
Yes. I think if James Gunn, if anybody can do this for DC, he's definitely seen the inner workings of the MCU. Mm-hmm. I would say, as far as continuity, his 3 movies tie together the best.
Yeah, I would agree, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think he knows how to do this. I mean, granted, there's a lot riding on this. This is the 3rd kind of restart for the DCEU, which I don't even think they're calling it that anymore.
Yeah, so we got our DCU and Elseworlds.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's in some ways it's somewhat frustrating.
Sure.
That we've got fantastic stories.
Yes.
But how do we integrate them? And again, in whether or not we do, I will say one of the things I think was a brave choice was for them to say that the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman was critically successful. It had audience success,
it
box
made
office
some
success.
money. Yeah.
It established a very interesting and unique universe I want them to explore.
Yes.
and they're like, listen, that Batman doesn't fit with a Superman.
Oh no.
And, you know, as much as we can sit around and kind of war game, like, how awesome would it be to see in The Flash, you know, a portal open and Christian Bale walks out. So, but it's like, one of the reasons why a lot of the Christian Bale, Christopher Nolan Batman works is because it doesn't exist in that universe.
And it doesn't. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of vaguely remember Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers trying to persuade Christian Bale to play Batman with Henry Cavill.
I think I saw something about that too.
I don't think it would have worked.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, that Batman was, I think that was as grounded as we're going to get as far as comic book titles. I think it was a little more grounded than The Batman, honestly. I think this Elseworld thing is going to be, I think, like I said, I think it's awesome that it has its little pocket universe as well.
Yeah, and I do think there are ways to explore some of the Batman canon villains, the rogues gallery, but give it in a way that fits the universe they've created. So, I don't think we are going to see a Clayface, but we might see an actor who has a very fantastic ability to pretend to be other people.
Sure.
I think I kind of pitched to Roman this kind of crazy idea that, you know, I don't want to... Mr. Freeze is my favorite Batman villain. Right. I love him. I think that he works brilliantly. I'd love to see a story where Mr. Freeze is Batman's first villain he goes up against. And Batman's like, listen, I know why you're doing this. I know why, I get why you're doing this. And I kind of told him I had this crazy idea that, you know, give us... I want to see Victor Freeze working in the Batcave on a cure. I want to see him making Bruce's tech.
Right.
So that... Because Alfred, you know, we all love Alfred, but, like, he's not the guy... Like, he's not out there researching chemistry to make smoke bombs. But, like, Victor Freeze as a scientist.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And I'd love to see tension between, like, Alfred and Victor. As kind of this whole... Yeah, this whole, like... who's raising Master Wayne? But like what I pitched to Roman a couple weeks back was this idea that, like, how awesome would it be? Give us Batman to give it. It's winter. We've got snow.
Yes.
And while this is happening, you've got a serial killer on the loose. But he's not going out there randomly killing people. What they're noticing is these people, you know, they've had some medical things done to them. And here's the connection here, right? The big you know moment, the big reveal is that Victor is trying to perfect cryogenic stasis to keep his wife alive, and so he's experimenting on these people, and so the newspapers, the media, social media, they call this guy Mr. Freeze because they're finding these bodies thawing, you know, in this, and so he's not running around shooting freeze guns, you know, but again, it gives us it gives us kind of that element of the core of the character, which what makes Mr. Freeze work, in my opinion, as a layman, is the fact that he's not a criminal mastermind, in the sense that he's not often. I mean, I know they've done stories where he kind of leans into his more villainous side, but it gives us a very unique and relatable villain, where we see someone who is, you know, what would you do if you had the knowledge but not the wherewithal, to possibly save the person you love the most in the world, And I think the first movie established with the Riddler, it gave us the sense of, obviously he's crazy, but he's not dumb, and he kind of has a point. And that gives us, now I know that some have suggested that the DCU is going to move away from the traditional dichotomy of the good guy versus bad guy. So give us villains that we can empathize with, that are still villains. Because when you give us a villain that pulls back the punches, then you really lose a lot of what's at stake. But the Riddler, like, pretty much creating a following on social media who are going to carry out, like, this act of terror. Like, that was such a great way to make us, on the one hand, sympathize for this orphan, on the other hand, realize how much of a brutal monster he is and that he has to be stopped.
I think doing the gray area villain, I mean, I think Thanos was, like, kind of the first taste we got with that. Like, where you're like, he's evil, but he does kind of have a point, you know? Looking back on it now, it's like, okay, that's not really executed too well. I get it, though. You know, wiping out half the universe, whatever, but at the same time, it's like, well, you know, because you have the argument, like, well, just snap and make more food or more resources.
And my hope is that with Kang being the next big bad
right.
of the MCU, my hope is that Kang is not the morally conflicted Thanos. Like, I want Kang, I want him to be the conqueror. I want him to be like, I want to punish people. I want to make people suffer.
Right.
I'm going to get back to the people that wronged me. I want him to be like, I want him to be off the leash.
Yeah, full on just going.
Because when you look at, especially in Infinity War,
right.
his fight, when he's one-on-one with Tony, for example, there is kind of a modicum of respect.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there is this, I mean, he monologues. Like, you know, it's sort of like, while I've got these stones, the career at the universe, let me give you all a flashback of Titan. But, like, I want Kang to be like, I'm not going to monologue to you because I don't have to explain myself to you.
Yes.
And you're going to be dead in a minute anyway.
Right.
That's
What's the point of me telling you anything?
Yes.
I think that, dude, I'd be so down with that. I mean, we know with this Ant-Man, I made the prediction you don't think Scott Lang makes it out, right?
Okay, I'm glad you worded it like that.
Okay.
Because, so, you said he doesn't make it out. So my two theories are either we see Scott die, or we see him get stuck in the quantum realm.
I think that's the safer way to go, too.
What I like with him being stuck in the quantum realm, even though he previously got stuck the last time.
It was that damn mouse.
But it affords an opportunity for them to come back to the character without writing him out as a death.
Yes, yeah. I think that would be the best way to go. It would give Scott, Paul Rudd, time to go do some other stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I've heard he loves playing the character of Scott Lang. He said it numerous times.
And has a book coming out this fall.
Ooh.
So in the Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania Part 1 Infinity War. It just keeps getting longer. It's like
Oh my
it's
God,
like an onion. So in the movie, he has an autobiography.
Right.
He's released this book and stuff, and it was recently announced that they have actually written a Scott Lang autobiography of his life, and I believe the audiobook is read by Paul Rudd. I think it's going to be sold in September, which will probably coincide with like its release, home release, that kind of thing,
streaming stuff.
And by then, spoilers and stuff, whatever the book might reveal.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, so they are going to do that because
they are. That is official.
You
can pre-order it on Amazon right now. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That is one thing I will say for the MCU. They do awesome tie-ins. Dude.
Yeah.
They there is a payoff for being a super fan. For the MCU, I hope DC can do, or Warner Brothers can do this, man. We're pulling for them.
Yeah,
I will say I'm more of a. Generally, I would say they have the better written characters.
Yeah, and they give us characters that, you understand the stakes that they're fighting for.
Right.
It's one of the big tropes you see in virtually every superhero story is the bad guy that wants to rule the world.
Yeah.
It's either destroy it or rule it.
Right.
And when everything becomes that high stakes, nothing has weight to it.
Right.
But he's lost.
It's all or nothing.
He's lost all his time. Mm-hmm. He's lost all this time with his daughter. When he was stuck in the quantum realm.
Right.
And here he's got this chance. If he does what Kang wants him to do and he's able to get them out, he could be with his daughter again. Maybe he can go back to a timeline where he never left in the first place.
Yes.
But that's why keeping him in the quantum realm is going to be such a gut punch, because he's going to lose more time again. And as much as I love Scott Lang and as much as I love Paul Rudd,
dude,
the stories that we remember are the ones that are the gut punch.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we love Empire so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Best Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did put in the text today, or yesterday. I made reference to it recently. That if Scott or Hank is left in the quantum realm, and our post credit scene is going to be a hand reaching to pick him up, and it's Robert Downey Jr. And just imagine how mind blowing it's going to be. I mean, I personally don't want to see Chris Evans again. I don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. again.
Right.
I love them, but again, just bringing them back takes the weight out of their sacrifice. What they do,
absolutely.
But it's a variant.
Yes.
It's a Tony Stark that found his own way to the quantum realm. I mean, again,
it's a good way around it, and man, that's gonna be. I could kind of see them doing that.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna be so angry if that happens. Like everyone in the theater is gonna be cheering, and I'm just gonna go boo earns.
Yeah,
boo earns.
I think that's. I'm excited, man. I think this is phase 5 is going to be where Marvel's like, okay, we tried throwing the pasta at the wall. Let's get back to like good storytelling.
If you could pick one, obviously you love Daredevil, but
Sure.
if you could pick one character storyline or character that could be introduced into the MCU, again, just let's take all of our theories out the window.
Right.
It's something that hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
What would you want to see happen? You know, characters or storyline,
Right.
something like that. What do you think?
You know, we have already kind of got. Let's see, I'm thinking here. Do you have one right off the bat?
I do have
Okay,
one.
go.
So as a kid, it absolutely blew my mind in Spider-Man the Animated Series when we saw Peter turn into the Spider.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we get the Punisher and
Right.
we get Blade.
That's right.
And it would just be so cool. I would love to see bring back John as the Punisher. We've got our
Yeah.
Blade movie coming.
That's right.
It'd give us an opportunity to see Tom Holland in a whole new way.
Yes. Get that darker edge to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be something that maybe doesn't translate well into the movie universe.
Right.
But, that would be cool to see because they have their own very Metal Gear Solid looking Punisher in the Spider-Man animated series.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yes, and then we had a Blade, which as a kid,
Yeah.
the Blade movie with Wesley Snipes was actually like one of the first. I would say it's probably the first superhero movie I saw.
Okay.
Maybe as a kid I watched that like 1990 Captain America movie.
Oh my God! Written by the Catch and the Rise dad.
Oh, Salinger?
Yeah. That's
Oh.
his son.
Oh my
playing
gosh.
Captain America.
But
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Isn't the president in that movie like Warren Beatty or something?
Warren Beatty's the reporter,
No, I'm thinking.
but he's best friends with the president.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm trying. Oh my gosh, from Deliverance.
Oh,
Why can't I think of his name?
I can't either, dude.
It's Burt Reynolds and Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty!
There
we got there.
Warren Beatty. Like,
Yeah,
we're talking about Dick Tracy here. But I mean, my brother and I, as kids, like we loved Blade. We had the soundtrack, and it was just such a gritty, dark,
Right.
sort of thing. Going back and watching it, there's parts of it where I'm like,
Yeah, it was the 90s.
yeah, well, and it's one of those things where, I think we've been exposed to a higher quality of storytelling with some of these things. And so looking back, it kind of can be unfair.
Sure.
Because, those stories were, that's what you had.
That's all you got.
That's
Yeah.
all you had.
Yes.
I think we've seen some really cool stuff. Again, maybe not the totality of the 3 movies
Right.
of the X-Men universe.
Right.
We had First Class. We had Days of Future Past. We had Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix. Okay, so we had 4. There are certain pockets of some of those movies that I liked.
Sure.
But man, when that first X-Men came out,
God, that was incredible.
it's like, yeah, exactly.
There was no that you're right. Going back to what you said, like that's all you had, and it did exceed our expectations.
Yeah.
Going to see that, and then X2, like you didn't realize that could get better, and I think that set the kind of the upping it thing for the MCU. Like we've got to up this and exceed everyone's expectations.
Oh my gosh.
X2 was like, oh man, it doesn't get better than this, and it didn't.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, X2 and Spider-Man 2, sequels that, I mean, you always hear people that will be like, oh my gosh, like no sequel's better than the original or whatever. But like right there's two.
There's 2.
Within 1 to 2 years of
Yeah,
release of each
easily,
other,
yeah.
like 2004, 2002 to 2004.
Yeah.
Because 2005 I believe was X3. Which,
2006.
Yeah. 6?
Yeah, I believe it was 2006.
But
Either way,
you definitely it's easy to look at everything that's out now and be
Right.
like, oh, this is the absolute best. They can never improve on it, and history has shown that
it does get improved on.
It does get improved on.
Yeah, I'm good with this. You good with this?
Yeah, this sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
So why don't you tell us if there's maybe a comic, a series, a movie that got you into loving the superhero story just let us know in the comments below. It could be something, could be the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Ooh, which is the template for every superhero
Yes,
story, I'd
absolutely,
say.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Or it could be a failed iteration of Gilgamesh in Eternals. So it could be either...
And they besmirched my my screen name as well.
Yeah.
Icarus with a K.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And boy, oh my gosh. And he died by flying into the sun.
That dude, genius.
Yeah.
So subtle of you, Marvel. Well, I've been Eric Icarus. This is the main man, Jordan Tunney, the big tuna. Can we say your name?
Sure, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I like calling him Jordan Tunney. So,
Yeah.
the main man.
We'll beep it out.
And, if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. What else does Roman say?
Be excellent to each other.
Sure.
That's Abraham Lincoln from Bill and Ted. That's what I'm thinking of.
But fine words to live by.
Yeah, good beards, both of them.
Heck yeah,
So,
dude.
Yeah. With that, we'll catch you on the next episode.